In this video, we're going to talk about patentability. Generally, we're going to cover what it means for something to be the type of invention that you can get a patent on it. There's 5 main criteria for patentability. First is the technology has to be patent eligible subject matter. The second is the technology has to be useful. The third is the technology has to be new. The fourth is the technology has to be what we call non-obvious. And the fifth is you have to have sufficiently described your technology in your patent application. So let's quickly go through these one by one. The first criteria, that your technology has to be patent eligible subject matter, means that your technology has to be the type for which we've decided that the government can grant a patent monopoly to you. Now generally, most types of technological innovation are capable of being claimed in a patent application such that they'll meet this criteria. The courts and the law have said that laws of nature, naturally occurring phenomena, and abstract ideas should not be the subject of patent protection. And we've seen some recent disputes arise concerning software implemented inventions and DNA technology, where people are considering whether those types of inventions, that type of innovation, really should be the subject matter of patent protection. But in general, patent attorneys can claim your technology in a way to satisfy this first criteria. The second criteria is that the technology has to be useful. This is a pretty low threshold. In some minimal way, your patent application has to describe to the examiner how it could be useful. It doesn't have to be a great idea. It just has to be useful for something. Sometimes inventions will fail this criteria because it simply isn't credible to the examiner that this invention is actually going to work. An example of this is a perpetual motion machine, where no matter how well described, the patent examiner simply doesn't think it's going to work. The next criteria, novelty or newness, is one of the most important. This means that your invention cannot be something that's already in existence, at least not publicly in existence. For this, the patent examiner is going to look at something called prior art. We'll talk about prior art in more detail in another video, but basically prior art means any information that people in your field are aware of. This means that there can't be something in your field that's public knowledge that discloses each and every element of your patent claim. Otherwise, that claim isn't new and it's not going to be patentable because it's not novel. The fourth criteria is what's called non-obvious. This is also an important threshold to patentability. This means that even if your invention is new, that means there's no public piece of information in your field that discloses each and every aspect that you're going to claim in your patent application, that the difference between your new invention and the public knowledge in your field in its entirety isn't sufficient to give you a government-granted patent monopoly. In other words, for this criteria, the patent examiner can look at all the information in your field and what it teaches and determine whether your invention, in light of all that public information, really is sufficient to giving you a patent monopoly. And the last criteria is that you need to describe your invention sufficiently in your patent application. This means that the pictures and words in your patent application need to teach people in your field that you actually have come up with this invention, and it has to enable people in your field to go and actually use your invention without undue experimentation. If you've met these 5 criteria, then your invention may be patentable.